Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. So today we have Allen, and I just talked to him a couple weeks ago. He's an amazing dude, and he's doing a lot. So let's just get right into it. Allen, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Allen Frantz. I am an outdoor educator of 25 plus years. I'm a Montessori educator of 20 years, and I am a divorce and identity recovery coach. And so I tend to use things like micro adventures or outdoor adventures to compel people to shake themselves loose after a divorce, to reconnect with who they really are, and to create a vision that they feel optimistic about, and to create a future that they can't wait to get to.
I think that's really awesome because I know, I've never been married. Don't know if I ever will. Not something that looks good to me, but
It's not all bad.
yeah. But like I know like a lot of people, even if you're just in a relationship, not even married, but you tend to change yourself for the other person. And sometimes you go the wrong way. Sometimes you change for the good, but sometimes you change for the bad. And then you kind of tend to forget who you are and what you actually want out of life. So I like that you're helping people get back to the person that they want to be.
It's so important to know deep down who you are. And oftentimes, a loss like a divorce, the loss of a job, moving to a new town, sometimes the loss of a loved one will shake us out of what we thought we were, because the future that we had imagined with that person is no longer available to us. And so rather than circling in that misery, I implore people to take that time to reassess what it is that you really care about and who you are at your core, and then build from there.
I do know what you're talking about because in 2019 I lost my dad, and he was, my best friend. He was the guy that taught me pretty much everything I know, and always the guy that I could count on for anything. It was like 2 or 3 years after I lost him, I completely like put my life in a whole different direction because I realized that I wasn't living the life that I wanted for myself. Like we had a family business and I worked there. I planned on taking that business on over, but during the time that he was sick, we sold the business. So then after he passed, I had no father, and our business was gone. And the business, when you have a family business, it's kind of your whole life. So I was just like a mess and I didn't know what to do. And thankfully, that did lead me into the journey I'm on now. So, yes, it sucked horribly that I lost my dad, but the good thing that came out of it is now I'm able to, experience this life that I'm living now.
Sure. Traumas and losses are huge pattern disruptors, which is what I try to access on a smaller scale when I talk about adventures. And when I talk about adventures, I don't mean you got to hop on a plane and go climb Mount Everest. What I'm talking about is taking a chance almost daily, if possible, finding those places where you're a little uncomfortable and trying something new anyway, because whimsy matters. We know this in education, that when we're having fun, when we're doing something that is brand new to us, that we learn it better. And so that carries over into this field of divorce recovery, where when we can put ourselves in situations that are a little bit uncomfortable, then it is going to disrupt those patterns that we found ourselves in, that compromise. That my own divorce came about because of this series of compromises, right? And it's not to blame anyone. I freely compromised because I felt like the best way to maintain this relationship is to find that common ground. And when we continue to give away pieces of ourselves, of our identity, then eventually, hopefully, we wake up and find out, and hopefully it's not a divorce, but we find out that, man, I'm following along and I'm not leading. I'm not living my life. I'm doing the things that the world presents to me rather than being an active participant.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with that, and, if you look at my social media and my podcast, I tell people, "Get comfortable with being uncomfortable because that's how you grow. It's through that uncomfort and doing the things that you're scared to do is where you actually grow as a human and you can develop into the person that you actually want to become."
And not just that, Maria Montessori said we must become friendly with error. And that's how
Yes.
we get better. And
Hmm.
the world right now tells us that we need to shield ourselves from looking dumb. We're so afraid to not be good at things. And we have to be bad at things before we can be good at them. And so taking those small chances, every time we do it, it builds a win for us. That didn't kill me. That didn't crush me. Nobody made fun of me. And
Hmm.
so, wow, what's my next challenge then? And it shifts that window of what I'm willing to try. And if I'm willing to try bigger and better things, my life becomes bigger and better.
Yep, it does. It really does. And I'm all about stepping out of my comfort zone, and because if you do it once and you like it, even just the slightest little bit, do it again. And it just gets easier the more you do it.
I tell people, try anything twice. First
Yep,
time could have been a fluke. You could have loved
exactly.
it and it's terrible, and it could have been awful, and you might find out that you actually like it. So give it a shot.
Yep. So when you're going on adventures, what are some of the types of adventures that you do?
So this summer we are offering a Maine adult summer camp, and so we call it our second summer. And this is something that we'll be doing every year in a different location. And so this is a chance for folks who have suffered some sort of a loss or who know there's more out there. It's not always divorced folks that they know that there's something that is available to them that maybe they're not interacting with, and this is a chance to step into that. So we will do a day of hiking. We'll do a day of biking on the carriage roads, which is this quintessentially Maine thing to do. And then we will do some sea kayaking out on the main island trail. And when you go out on the main island trail, it's this series of hundreds of islands, and many of them are publicly owned. And the ones that are available for camping, they're first come, first serve. And so you show up, if there's no one on there and it will accept a group of your size, well, that's your island. And when you're a kid, like what could be better? You dream of camping on this deserted island. And literally, we camp on an island out there that's 2.5, 3 acres. So it's this tiny little place. It's all your own. Now, it's really a beautiful thing. And then we head back and do the tourist thing in Bar Harbor for a night.
Man, a 2 to 3 acre island. Yeah, I own 4.3 acres of land, so I'm just like thinking of my property with the water all around it. Like how cool that would be.
Oh, it's incredible. Many, many years ago, we're talking 25 plus, I was guiding a trip and went to this particular island with a group of kids. We were 12 kids, I think. And they always wanted to play manhunt. And I was adamantly against it at night. No running at night. That's one of the rules. We just don't want anybody getting hurt. And they were like, "Can we play manhunt?" I was like, "I think this is a good time to play manhunt." And like, "What are the boundaries?" I'm like, really? If you step in the water, you're too far.
Yep, yep. That's really cool. And where are you located?
I live just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. So I'm in this little river town called New Albany, Indiana.
And then where are the islands?
This is in Maine. So we travel all
Okay.
over the country for
Awesome.
these programs and all over the world, really. We do a Sayulita surf camp down in Mexico. So we'll take some folks down there and do some surfing for 4 or 5 days. Father son retreats, doing those in Arizona this year. We've done them in Utah. So lots of travel and adventure destinations for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how many of these retreats do you do a year?
Typically two. Um, on occasion, we will add a third that is a yoga retreat. We partner with a local yoga studio. And
Mm-hmm.
so we'll do locally here, we have the Red River Gorge, which is a world class climbing destination. And so we'll take people, I will lead the adventure portion. And then my friend at the yoga studio, Element, Ayurvedic Living, shout out to them, Carrie and Rob, they will lead the other parts.
That's really cool. Really cool. Now, some of the listeners, might not be able to realize that there's something more to life than what they're experiencing. Having it like tips to kind of help them understand that, hey, you should look into more.
Boy. uh, my entire framework is built around the word adventure and the number 10. So it's the adventure 10. And it's a series of little tips that we can do to um, to build a life. I believe that a life that contains lots of small micro adventures, when we turn around and look back at it, is an enormous adventure at the end. And so I use the word adventure, and it's things like A is for achievements or accomplishments. And so, what is something you always wanted to achieve or always accomplish? And this could be a 5K, could be graduating from college, it could be getting a certificate, any number of things. Um, so it kind of builds from there. D is develop meaningful relationships. It's something like meet your idols or put yourself in the room or just nurture the relationships that you already have. One of the things I've found that I do almost on a daily basis that builds adventure into my life in a way that is unexpected is I will text 2 to 4 people every single day that's in my contacts list just to say hello. How are things going? Because you never know what's happening in their lives. And it might be the text that they needed to hear that day. Hey, hope things are going well for you. But on the flip side of that, that also just opens up that builds that connection, it makes it stronger, and it reminds them that you're there. And I had someone text me out of the blue a week and a half ago, like, "Hey, actually, I know you're in the Louisville area, and I'm looking for something in that area, and I wonder if you know anybody." I'm like, "Oh, it's so good," because they believed that I was someone who could help them. And it's just a small thing. And I won't run through the whole entire list for you, but like V is volunteer and E is educate yourself. And it's just lots of different things. I'm happy to share that with you and with your audience if you like a copy of that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Yeah, and it's cool that you have that structure to what you do to help people. Now, for the people that do feel like they should grow, do something more, what is a tip for them? What should they do at first?
Well, I think it depends on the person. But for me, especially people ask, what is an adventure that every divorced person should do? And I always say, take a trip solo. And I don't care where it is. I do a solo retreat every year where I just will fly up to Chicago. It's a 1 hour flight for me. I'll get a hotel and I'll lock myself in a hotel room for 2 days and just do work on the business. But then also that means that when I go out to eat, I'm by myself and I don't get my phone out. I strike up a conversation with the person next to me, or I talk to the baristas. I'm going to be here for the weekend. So the first day, I make sure I know who they are and what their name is and say hello. And it's a practice of interacting with the world in a way that invites us in. I think one of the things that happens when we get divorced, we feel like the world is happening around us and we're missing out on everything. And it's a way to kind of step back through that door. And so I think travel alone is a big one.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I traveled to Miami for 9 days alone a year or two ago,
Nice.
and it was just so liberating and different to just do something by yourself, away from basically anybody that you know, and just meet new people. It was really awesome.
And liberating is such a good word because you don't have to wait for anybody to get ready. This is
Yes.
probably the only child in me speaking, but you don't have to worry about what to eat for dinner because whatever you decide, you don't have to worry about turning right or turning left. And so that's another thing that I invite people to do. Speaking of that, is um, take a wrong turn drive and don't or walk and don't wear earbuds, don't turn the radio on. Just do something that is out of the ordinary for you. That's the lowest bar to entry for just shaking things up a little bit. Just disrupt your patterns.
Yeah, I think it's really good to not do the same exact thing day in and day out.
Yeah, my wife will ask a lot. "Ooh, I wouldn't have gone this way." She'll say that to me. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know I was
Oh,
going this way either. I just do that sometimes.
yeah. That's really cool. That's really cool. And I know, like, for me, I do have the things that well, I shouldn't say, I get to do every day, and that's gonna set me up for better day. So, like, for me, I have a morning routine, and the days that I don't do my morning routine, my whole day's a mess. So there are certain things that I feel like it's good that you do every day.
Yeah, I think there's a balance. So every
Yeah.
morning I get up, I do the same routine. I turn on the water to make coffee because I'm never going to miss coffee. So it's
Yep,
easy to
me either.
tie a habit to that. And that's a trick, right? From if you know anything about James Clear, like a
Habit
habit that you want to do.
stacking.
Yeah. Habit stacking, put it with something you know you're going to do. So I'm always going to have coffee. Um, but for me, that's when I meditate. So I know that meditation will happen right then. And then while I'm making the coffee, I take my wife's up to her, and then I start work right away. And so I don't do journaling first. I don't do exercise first because a lot of times something will shake loose with the meditation. So I will address those things, and then I try to spend time with her if I can, especially this time of year where we're not in school. I am still teaching, so we'll hang out. But then right now I'm doing 75 hard. So I think it's important to shake up your habits. And so I took a few of my daily habits out in order to substitute 2 workouts, in order to substitute drinking 128 ounces of water. Because adding habit after habit after habit after habit, you're going to lose something. And so I think that things can be seasonal.
Yeah,
After next Saturday, when 75 hard is over, I will go back to my standard routine for a while. And so
yeah,
then writing at least, I say 150 words, because I know if I write 150 words, I'll end up writing 500 or 1,000. So that's one of my habits every day. Um, Texting people, my Connect Four, I call it, or Connect Two usually. I do that every day. And Duolingo Spanish because my son and we have a 400 and something day streak together. So I do that
let's
every day.
go.
So yeah, I definitely do have things that I've found that are productive, but I will substitute them out occasionally.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's good. And I know, like, for me, I have my 6 things that I do, and some days I'll do 5 of them, some days I'll do 6. And I feel like if you get more than, like, 6, it's too much. So,
Yeah, it
yeah,
becomes a to-do list and the rest of your life
exactly.
can suffer. So I
Yeah.
think it's really important to reevaluate habits on an ongoing basis. Every quarter, I sit down and look at, okay, what are my goals? And do these habits that I have, do they support those goals or are they just one more thing? Because I don't think doing one more thing for the sake of doing it is super important. I think discipline matters. And I think having those 5 to 6 things matters because I do them all the time, but I do think that you can move them around.
Yep. How important do you think, discipline is?
Oh, it's everything, especially for someone like me. I'm coming to realize a friend was talking about some things he was noticing in himself, and his conversations will go off on a wild tangent, or he will forget a long list of things, or just little. It's like, huh, tell me more about that. And the reason it came up, he was talking about going to see a counselor about adult ADHD. I never considered myself that type of person, but in assessing some of these things he was talking about, never Google your symptoms, by the way. So of
No,
course I
don't do that.
Googled it and I'm like, oh, wow, that sounds a little bit like me. I was talking with my oldest daughter. She's 24. And I said, well, this might sound weird, but what do you think about? And I started describing, and she goes, are you just now realizing this? I was like, oh, great. Everybody knew but me. Um, so I think discipline is crazy important because I am the novelty seeker. I am, on the profile, I'm the visionary. I am not the person who wants to sit down with the details. So discipline really, really matters. And that shows up in lots of ways for me. I enjoyed mountaineering at one time, and now I became more into ultra marathons. And so if you don't do the miles, you just don't get to do the races.
Yeah, yeah. I agree that you need to be disciplined in life, and when you're not, you, you don't really do a whole lot, honestly. Like, you have to have that discipline to, get yourself to do the things that you need to do to strive for the life that you want.
Yeah, it builds grit. It builds that resilience. It also it's freeing in a lot of ways
Hmm.
to have the structure. I know for me, saves me lots of I don't want to call it self doubt. I'm usually pretty good about self talk, but it does help me counteract some maybe I hate to call them limiting beliefs, but beliefs that don't support my goals. And so instead of saying things like, "Oh well, of course you forgot that thing," because that's just the way my brain works. Now I can put these things into a structure so that I know I'm not going to forget X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and it really helps with your self confidence.
For
And when
sure.
you're confident in yourself, it helps you do basically everything in life. Years ago, I was not confident in myself, like, at all. And, there was obviously certain things I was, but overall, like, I just didn't feel confident. And that was one of the first things that I started working on is building up my confidence in myself. And, I still, it's something that you continue to build. But now that I am more confident in myself, I do a lot more things because I believe that I can.
I think that is a big misconception about confidence that a lot of people, especially those who don't feel confident, I think they think it's something that you can just pull out of your drawer when you
Yeah.
need it. You can take it out of your backpack when you need it. And I always talk about the difference between confidence and courage. I think courage comes first. You have to be willing to do the thing that you are afraid of. That's one of the things in the Adventure 10. The one is one thing you're afraid of. You should be doing something that you're a little bit scared of all the time because every time you do that, and like I said, it doesn't kill you and the people
Hmm.
don't make fun of you and you don't fall on your face and all those things, you've just accessed confidence now. You stand a little taller. You speak a little more clearly. You show up for people in a different way. And so I 100% agree that doing those little things is what builds up. Being courageous builds confidence eventually, but it's a thing that you have to live. It's not something that you get to choose
Yeah, yeah, and you gotta take action towards it every day, and you're just gonna continue to build it up and up and up.
every day. Take little chances. Compliment someone on their shoes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That is risky. They might think you're such a weirdo, but who cares? They
I think
also
you're the
could be
third
your next
person.
best friend.
I think you're the third person on this podcast that has said that.
Really?
Yeah, compliment somebody on their shoes.
That's funny.
Some random person.
I did
Yeah,
that once in the airport, and now it's my go-to.
that's awesome. Awesome. So, how can people reach out to you? How can they work with you?
Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn at Allen Frantz, Frantz. I'm on Facebook at Crooked Trail Adventures, and of course the website Crooked Trail Coaching. And actually, I'll have a page for you guys too. It's Crooked Trail Coaching /infinite. And there you'll have choice of some downloads, some free resources that I have for folks. I'll put a copy of the Adventure 10 framework there for you. And yeah, just give me a shout and be glad to chat.
Awesome. And before we go, I gotta ask you. So, my slogan is "Your abilities are infinite." What does that mean to you?
Yeah, we know that the possibilities are infinite, that the world is out there for us to access. And when I think about what infinite abilities means is everything that we see around us was created by humans, outside of the natural world. So when I look around this room, the light, the computer, me looking at you hundreds of miles away, well, if that was created by humans and I'm a human, that's available to me as well. And so take away all the things that you feel like you cannot do and be aware of all the things that have already been done. And so what's left? Everything. We can't even imagine. We have to create first. And so if you can imagine it, you can do it.
I agree with that so much. And, I always say, don't say I can't, change it to how can I?
Hmm.
So, I do that every day.
Absolutely. You're a great
Yeah,
example of that.
thank you. Thank you. Well, Ellen, this was really awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's so good to see you again.
You too. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember your abilities are infinite.